Have you ever looked at a map of China and wondered about its four great rivers? The Halongjung, the Huanghe, the Yangtze, and the Zhujiang? We know them today as geographical features, sources of life and commerce. But what if I told you their origin story is far more magical, a tale of sacrifice, compassion, and divine power? This is the ancient legend of the four dragons. Long, long ago, before these mighty rivers flowed, China was a vast land with no rivers and no lakes. The only water came from the great Eastern Sea, home to four powerful dragons: the Long Dragon, the Yellow Dragon, the Black Dragon, and the Pearl Dragon. They spent their days soaring through the clouds and playing in the deep blue waters. They were free, powerful, and content. One day, while they were playing, the Pearl Dragon suddenly stopped. He pointed a claw towards the land and said, "Look, what's happening down there?" The other three dragons looked down. They saw crowds of people all over the land. They were setting out food, burning incense, and praying. An old woman with silver hair knelt on the ground holding a thin, starving child and cried out, "Oh, Jade Emperor in heaven, please send us rain. Our crops are dying and our children are starving." The dragons flew closer to the land. They saw that the earth was cracked and dry. The crops were withered and brown. The grass was yellow, and the trees had lost all their leaves. The people looked desperate, their faces etched with worry and hunger. The dragons felt a deep pang of sorrow. They had never witnessed such suffering. The Yellow Dragon said, "This is terrible. The people will die if it doesn't rain soon." The Long Dragon, the eldest and wisest, nodded gravely. "We must go to the Jade Emperor and ask him to send rain." The others agreed immediately. "Yes, let's go right now," said the Black Dragon. So the four dragons shot up into the sky, soaring past the clouds and heading straight for the heavenly palace. The Jade Emperor, ruler of heaven and earth, was not pleased to be disturbed. He was surrounded by celestial gods and fairies enjoying music and dance. When the four dragons arrived and pleaded on behalf of the suffering people, the Jade Emperor barely listened. He glanced down at the earth and said dismissively, "I will send rain tomorrow. You may go now." The dragons, trusting his word, thanked him and returned to the sea, feeling relieved. 10 days passed, then 20. Not a single drop of rain had fallen. The people's suffering grew worse. They were so weak they could barely move. Some were eating bark from the trees, others were digging for roots in the parched soil. The dragons saw all of this, and their hearts ached with a mixture of pity and anger. The Jade Emperor had lied. He was too busy with his heavenly parties to care about the mortals on earth. The Long Dragon looked at his brothers, its eyes filled with determination. "We cannot wait for the Jade Emperor any longer. The people are dying. We must find a way to help them now." The others looked at him, their expressions grim. "But what can we do?" asked the Pearl Dragon. "We are not in charge of the rain." Suddenly, the Long Dragon had an idea. He looked towards the vast Eastern Sea, their home. "The sea," he said, "is full of water. We can scoop it up and spray it over the land. It will be like rain." The other dragons were astonished. It was a brilliant but dangerous idea. Defying the Jade Emperor was a serious offense. But when they looked back down at the desperate faces of the people, they knew they had no other choice. "I'm in," said the Yellow Dragon without hesitation. "For the people," added the Black Dragon. The Pearl Dragon nodded in agreement. Their decision was made. They would risk everything to save the mortals below. The four dragons flew down to the Eastern Sea. They scooped up huge mouthfuls of water, as much as they could carry. Then they soared high into the sky, flying towards the parched land. They flew over mountains and valleys, plains and fields, and as they flew, they sprayed the water from their mouths. The water fell like a gentle, steady rain. As the drops touched the dry earth, a miracle happened. The crops began to revive, their stalks turning from brown to green. The rice shoots straightened up, and the sorghum plants grew tall. The people who had been lying on the ground felt the cool water on their faces. They looked up and saw the four dragons in the sky, bringing them the life-giving rain. They cheered and cried with joy. "It's raining. The dragons have saved us," they shouted, dancing in the miraculous downpour. The dragons worked tirelessly, flying back and forth between the sea and the land again and again, until the whole country was watered and the threat of famine was gone. People were saved. But their act of defiance did not go unnoticed. The sea god, the ruler of the eastern sea, saw what the dragons were doing and was furious. He rushed to the heavenly palace to report them to the Jade Emperor. The Jade Emperor, whose party had been interrupted once again, flew into a rage. "How dare those dragons interfere without my permission?" he roared. He ordered the mountain god to imprison the 4 dragons immediately. The mountain god was a powerful deity, summoned for immense mountains, and with a wave of his hand, sent them crashing down from the sky. The 4 dragons, exhausted from their efforts, had no strength left to resist. One by one, they were pinned down beneath the colossal mountains. They were trapped, forever separated from their home in the sky and the sea. But the dragons had no regrets. They had saved the people, and that was all that mattered. Yet even trapped beneath the mountains, their compassion for humanity burned bright. They knew the people would need water forever, not just for one season. They made a final, ultimate sacrifice. They decided to transform themselves into rivers, to flow through the land and nourish it for all time. The Long Dragon became the Heilongjiang, the Black Dragon River in the north. The Yellow Dragon became the Huanghe, the Yellow River in the center of the land. The powerful Long Dragon transformed into the mighty Yangtze River flowing through the south. And the Pearl Dragon became the Zhujiang, the Pearl River in the far south. They carved their way through the mountains that imprisoned them, bodies becoming the very channels that would carry water across the vast expanse of China. From that day on, these 4 great rivers have flowed, bringing life, irrigating the fields, and allowing civilization to flourish. They are a permanent monument to the 4 brave dragons who gave up their freedom, their power, and their very existence for the sake of humanity. So the next time you see a picture of the Yangtze or the Yellow River, remember this story. Remember that according to legend, you're not just looking at a body of water. You're looking at the spirit of a selfless dragon, a guardian who sacrificed everything so that people could live. It's a powerful reminder that the greatest legends are often born from the greatest acts of love and compassion. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Chinese mythology.
Yes?
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from around the world. See you next time.